The Caitlyn Clark hype is real, but a statistic that we saw on X is not. Clark's Indiana Fever jersey did sell out, but more than every single Dallas Cowboy all of last season. Basketball writer Dick Weiss posted that more Caitlyn Clark Indiana Fever jerseys were sold in one day than the Cowboys sold last year for the entire team.
Caitlyn Clark just turned down $50 million, and the entire WNBA is panicking. Think about that for a second. What player in league history has ever had the power to shrug at the biggest offer ever made? That wasn't supposed to happen. Clark was meant to be the league's savior, the one who fixed everything. Instead, her rejection has flipped the script, leaving everyone asking the same question. What happens to the WNBA when their brightest star says no?
The all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I history is getting her jersey retired. That's right, Iowa retiring number 22, Caitlyn Clark's jersey next February. Clark, who was drafted number 1 overall by the Indiana Fever last spring. And I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has been kind of built on them.
She's elevated the profile of women's basketball because she's a superstar talent. She deserves to get her jersey retired. She deserves to be celebrated at Iowa.
That's what we're about to break down. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Why would an entire league decide its future rested on one player who hadn't even stepped onto a professional court yet? That's the question everyone started asking once Caitlyn Clark's name became the center of the WNBA's survival plan. Before she arrived, the numbers behind the league weren't great. TV ratings were flat, local broadcasts struggled to hold viewers, and ticket sales barely pushed arenas past halfway capacity.
When I did an event with her and my guy Mark Shapiro in Iowa, that's his alma mater, 11,000 people showed up. I assure you it was not for me, it was for her. The disparity in treatment between her as a white player and black players who preceded her and achieved so much but lacked the level of recognition. After advancing to the national championship game before losing to Dawn Staley in South Carolina last year, what does she do? She goes out in the WNBA and she balls out there as well, and she ends up being a league MVP candidate as a rookie.
Teams were carrying operating costs that outweighed their revenue, and outside of a few select markets, games felt more like small community events than national showcases. For years, the talk wasn't about growth, but about how long the league could absorb such losses before something had to dramatically change. And then came Clark. Overnight, she shifted from college superstar to headline attraction without even stepping into her rookie jersey. Media coverage called her the savior, the one who could finally pull the WNBA out of decades of chasing relevance. Her college games had been sold-out spectacles, full of fans who camped outside for tickets like it was a major music festival. So when she was drafted, the league immediately leaned into the idea that this single rookie wasn't just another player, she was the business plan. The mood around the league flipped almost instantly. Think about it. Arenas that typically filled halfway suddenly had demand so high that tickets were reselling at multiple times face value. Reporters camped out at practices just to get a glimpse of her shooting drills. Merchandise stores had to restock her jersey day after day because they kept disappearing from the shelves in a matter of hours.
WNBA sensation Caitlyn Clark has scored numerous honors for her skills on the court. But Clark did more than just dazzle on the court this past season. She has quickly become one of, if not the most popular stars in the WNBA. Clark was awarded the league's Rookie of the Year award after a record-breaking season. She was the first rookie to be named the All-WNBA first team since 2008. Sports media company Boardroom says the WNBA was the fastest-growing brand in the United States this year.
People online compared the frenzy to Taylor Swift concerts or blockbuster movie premieres. It wasn't the quiet rollout you usually expect for a new player. It looked like something the WNBA had never seen before. And it started producing results right away. National broadcasts featuring her team showed clear bumps in ratings, landing among the most watched games the WNBA had seen in years. Sponsors who had steered clear of the league suddenly wanted in. dropping ads and campaigns that revolved directly around her name. For once, it wasn't a case of promises about potential fans. It was numbers actually rising, dollars actually flowing in, and arenas actually selling out. Within her first months, the optimism shot higher than anything the league had dared claim in the past decade. But here's where the optimism turned into something very different. The WNBA brass figured that if Clark was driving this surge, then there was no question they could lock her down with a massive record-setting contract, so something so big that it would cement her as the cornerstone of the league for years. That's when the $50 million deal hit the table. It wasn't just a contract offer, it was pitched like the golden ticket, the one move that would prove the league was serious about valuing its stars. Imagine the scene, the commissioner sliding the papers across, everyone expecting Clark to light up and sign instantly. Only that didn't happen. Instead of being blown away, Clark barely blinked. She shrugged. She didn't need to grab the pen with both hands. That non-reaction traveled faster than the offer itself. The announcement that she turned it down cracked into every corner of sports talk. Debate shows treated it as a top story. Social media lit up with hot takes from every angle. Even casual fans who barely kept up with women's basketball suddenly had strong opinions on what this meant. Some argued the league had finally recognized a star's worth. Others said it proved the WNBA was still years away from grasping the reality that modern athletes don't think like they used to. The chaos wasn't about whether Clark deserved the money. It was about what her refusal said about power dynamics in sports. That's the part the league hadn't prepared for. They assumed she needed them, that their check was the one thing that could keep her grounded. But Clark showed the opposite was true. She didn't need their money to validate her status. Endorsements, exposure, and cultural weight already put her on a pedestal far above what the league alone could create. Her rejection shifted the balance in a way that left executives scrambling. For years, the WNBA thought the path to survival was finding a single player who would carry the torch. But when the player they pinned everything on casually walked away from their biggest offer, it exposed something bigger. The issue wasn't her value. The real problem was the league's outdated belief that writing a giant check would be enough to control the future. Clark saying no to that contract wasn't just a surprise. It exposed that the WNBA's survival can't rely on one paycheck to one player. The league has to figure out how to build lasting value that doesn't crumble when a star decides she's bigger than the system. Right now, the stars hold the cards. The WNBA needs them more than ever, but those same stars have already proved they don't need the league to shine. That flips the entire balance of power. So the real question isn't what Clark does next, it's how the WNBA reacts to her rewriting the rules.